Welcome to Coloring and Shading. In this video, we will be taking a look at coloring and shading. So, to start off, let's just begin a new document. Let's say the size of this one can be 500 by 500. Create. When it comes to coloring and shading, pixel art as a medium has a lot of different art styles and a lot of different ways you can express your art and shade it or color it. For now, let's have a look at one of the practice sheets. Currently, I'm in Windows Standard Image Viewer, so ignore the anti-aliasing. But here you can see 3 different styles. They're all pixel art and all valid, but they look different. The first is a very minimalistic style. You have basic small shading and basic small lighting. You're using 3 different colors or 3 different shades. The second, you have layers of different colors. Starting with your lighter layer, a layer in between, middle layer, a layer in between, and your darkest layer. Lastly, we have a interesting pixelated shadow here. Here we're also using 3 different shades. However, with the small integration of pixels at every second pixel, a darker pixel or a lighter pixel every second pixel, we have an illusion of shadow that gives us a texture as well. Whatever art style you choose is up to you. You're welcome to give them all a try, as I would recommend in my test sheets, but you're not forced to do any one of them specifically. So for this example, we'll be going with the second one, or rather a combination of the first and second one. Let's say we have a little heart we want to shade. Let's quickly just draw a little heart. Okay, looking okay. And now for the color. We're going to go with a red, but we're going to make it a bit of an off red, more to a pinkish side, because it's a cute little heart. We're going to go to not the maximum in color intensity, just a little bit back, and we're going to start coloring. To save us time, we can always use the fill tool once we have the outlines ready, and we are done. Great, now we have our middle color. Let's have a little mark here. This is our color. Now we're going to want to decide on where exactly the light is coming from. Now for this, I'm just going to keep it simple. Let's just make the light come from this direction. And we're going to have to choose a shadow color. For the shadow, I'm going to use the same color, taking it a bit up and a bit more to the right. A little bit less. Yeah. This way, the color intensity will increase, as well as darkness of the color. So, since our light's from this side, this angle, we want to start at the other end, making it darker, or shading it. Depending on how many pixels you make it, will also determine on how much the image stands out, or how 3-dimensional the image is. I'm just going to go by 2 pixels down, and we have a straight line. I'm going to go 2 up, and 1 to this side. Let's make... no. Yes. This will give us a little bit of pop-out effect. Now for This, let's just also keep our color here, so we don't forget it, and can later reuse it again. Now we want to take the middle color again, and do the same, but to the lighter side. Let's pop it over here, and that looks good. Now, let's begin with the lights. When we're coloring, we don't want the light directly from the side, like this. We want it to go a little bit in, to give it that 3D effect. Actually, let me make this one a little bit lighter. Full tool, here we go. There we go. Okay, so we're going 1 pixel in, making a little square here, a little triangle here. Let's take it down a little bit, and let's add 2 random pixels here for some 3D effect. Now we have a little pixel heart. We can always go and add additional layers of color. Just keep in mind, while adding more layers of color, you can add more detail. However, you can easily move away from the pixel art theme. So let's keep it simple, at least for now, and just keep our standard colors. Remember, traditional pixel art are 16-bit color. That means that we are very limited on the amount of colors we can use. Pixel art is all about limitations, giving yourself limitations and making it work regardless. For our next example, let's go and use a circle. To save some time, I'm going to draw a circle with this tool. Let's make it 31 by 31. I didn't save time. Let's copy this side. And paste it here. While these tools are very useful, they're more for traditional digital art and not pixel art. You will see that a lot of times, especially with your smaller shapes, you will have odd shapes coming out. So try and draw it as far as you can. Usually by hand works the best. Let's just fix this. Fix this. And there we go. We have an alright looking circle. Last line. Okay. So this time we want the light source to come from a different direction. Let's say the same direction, but from the other side. Now in this example we will have a circle. While this little heart has a bit of rounding, we want the circle to have complete rounding. So let's start with just the plain gray. Fillback tool. Actually, let's fill it here and then with the gray, so we don't have an outline. The outline is purely by choice, but you can do it however you wish. Now we're going to go a bit lighter because we're working with a plain gray. We're not going to have to move the color intensity, so we're just moving in a straight line. Now we're at the lighter colors. Let's make it a little bit darker. Actually, let's start with the darker color. Now, when we start with the darker color, we can easily... No, let's make it darker. I want it to be seen. When working with a dark color, you can easily make an outline like this. Working your way out. Keep in mind, because of the round shape, we don't want to shade it exactly like this. That will imply that we have a coin. We are looking for a solid sphere. So we're going to go all around in the circle like so. And we will have our shade. You can always spend some time to perfectly align it, but that's up to you. Also going to add these two random pixels just to give that little rounding effect. It makes a big difference when you're zooming out. Next up, let's go with a lighter color. Yes, this one's perfect. Now for this one, we don't want to start the same way that we did this one. We want to start here to give a little bit more of a light effect from the side. Simple again, we're going to make a circle. A lot of circles in this video. And there we have a basic point of light. Now you can always go with colors in between. To make it more smoother round effect. Or you can make, like our third example, was it the third one? To fit with the second example, or you can always go with the third example and use alternating pixels. While this may take time, the effect it creates, it's worth looking at. Zooming out in very small scale, this looks very realistic and also gives a bit of a texture to whatever image you are coloring. Keep in mind that these effects don't just apply to shadows, but to color as well. You can easily color any image using these same techniques. For now, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, to waste your time with this video. Let's move on to splicing colors. In this example, we will be having just a straight line. Let's fill it with a plain gray would be fine. On the one end, we want to use the pink again. On the other end, let's go for a nice purple. Yeah, there we go. Now we want to merge these two colors, or rather transition from one to another. There's a couple of ways of doing this. If you are lazy and you want to cheat, basically what we will be doing is taking the one color, fill bucket, copying this one, and changing the transparency so we have a tertiary color. Of course, this would be very debatable whether or not it's pixel art once you start using multiple layers and transparencies as well. Now, back to this example, where we have the alternating pixels, we can easily do this as well. We will start with one side, filling every second pixel, and we have a little bit of a transition. You can always add additional layers. This one. Other side as well. And we will have a lighter transition. However, as I usually do it, just undo this. I would just be taking this color, taking a color in between, and filling it up. I will take this color, taking a color in between, and fill it up again. This way we will have a transition as well. Again, with pixel art, we don't want it to be too smooth. For instance, making it selected square, we are going to go with, let's break the rules completely. Let's go with a smudge tool. One of the most hated tools by any pixel art. Well, one of the most hated tools by pixel artists. We're gonna, wait, no, wrong layer. We're gonna just go like this and smudge it down. We have a perfect gradient now. However, this is not in any way considered pixel art. Generally, pixel art is in iterations of 8-bit. Or rather, it doubles every time. We start with 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, and so on. However, to simulate this, let's go to filters, artistic, and posterize. Posterize, I think that's how you pronounce it. And let's put it to 8. Here we will have a smooth transition as well, but we'll have 8 different colors. We can do this to go to 16 as well, and we will have more colors. Do not go any higher than 16. This will just take you back to where we started. Let's go to 16 again. Okay. And from here, we can actually cheat a little bit as well. We can use this to create our color palettes. Let's go back to pixel art. Our first color would look like this. Second color would look like this. Third color would look like this. And so we have a little color palette. Actually, let's make it this one. So every second color we'll be using to make our color palette. While there's a lot more examples I can give, what I want you to do is go through the practice sheets. I've supplied in the resources for this video a couple of sheets that you can go through, start testing and playing around. It includes shading, coloring, and everything in between. Basically, what you have to do is duplicate these different art styles on the circles below and on the tubes below. So, we want to create this one with a light source starting from this side and a light source starting from top for this example. This will give you some practice on how to shade. You can also go with more complex shapes or simpler shapes. Feel free to draw your own shapes to practice on as well. In the next video, we will be having a look at textures, adding different textures to your image, along with colors and shapes.